Happy Friday. I just wanted to let you all know a few things before we get started. I don't know if you've seen this or what, but first of all, we will not have school for students on Monday the 12th. Lucky you. I still have to be working. Um, but that's okay. And then I put class information. I'm going to move this down to the bottom here, but I just put it at the top to remind me to tell you. I'll put it under course information. It's this right here, and it says November 2nd hybrid schedule. So we're going to have a new schedule, and this is going to be the new schedule. And this will be every day of the week. So it's completely different. No more Wednesday, different schedule. And it talks about the different cohorts. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit. Oh, I can zoom in, but I can't see. All right, so cohort A is in person on Mondays and Thursdays. B and C are at home. Tuesdays and Fridays, cohort B is in person, and A and C are at home. And Wednesday, all cohorts are at home. So just to make that clear, I don't know if you know this, but either way, I'm going to be at home. I'm a high risk person and I got a doctor's note. I'm still recovering from surgery and I have some other health conditions. And so I'm planning on staying at home, whether you guys are at school or not. There should be like a long-term sub that's in the art credential area to like help monitor, but I'll still be teaching you guys directly from home. There's also some literature about it right here. If you want to open that up and read it, I'm making that available to you. So, very important. I will be asking attendance question at the end of the period to make sure that you guys are paying attention and listening. And so every day I'm not only taking attendance, but I'm documenting that you are participating live in class. So we're doing both every day as documentation for the most part. If you notice there's like some weird points or that's ungraded, it's because I had to write and document that we've done something every single day just because the state mandates it. So that's why I do it. Let's see here. Agendas. Let's go ahead and go to agenda 9. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so this is a weird day. I put a bunch of links. Did I spell that wrong? No. This I spelled wrong. And the reason is because I want you guys to really be encouraged and inspired with this next chapter of what we're doing. And that is going to be all about sketchbooks. We're going to do a proof of practice today and attendance questions and live Zoom every single day. We're going to talk about dynamic symmetry, identify the subject, off-center artwork to please the eye, large, medium, and small objects, light next to dark equals pop for contrast. And I should probably lose the explanation. Doesn't make any sense there. And strong compositions for photography, and we'll watch that at the end. So I'm not going to play all these videos, but I'm going to share aspects of them with you. And then you are going to be on your own to research those further. It should be a very fun and exciting concept for you. And that's all about sketchbooks. Poll question. Do you have a sketchbook at home? Yes or no? So far, only 12 of you out of 28 have answered. Okay, I guess I'll document those people and mark them absent. So May is not participating. Justin is not participating. It's weird. Oh, now he is. And everyone else is participating but May. That's too bad. All right, I'll just mark her absent. So,
Oh,
moving.
sorry, my Wi-Fi cut out and I couldn't hear you.
Really?
Yeah, my audio cut out. I'm sorry.
It seems like you're awfully far away from your computer to respond so quickly. You could be emailing me when that happens also, because it seems like it's a frequent thing with you, May. So the question was, do you have a sketchbook at home?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to be
I
asking
know.
questions throughout this whole lesson, so I need you to be paying attention. You can get a hotspot from Shant if you're really having problems with your Wi-Fi. That's something you need to get resolved with our tech. Okay, so let's talk about these videos.
Sketchbooks! The best advice that I ever received as an artist was to keep a sketchbook with me all the time. These are not my sketchbooks, these are my brother Henry's sketchbooks from when he was in art school in high school. He made his own books, and as you can see, although the pages are gorgeous, they are not precious and perfect and clean. There are lots of messy rips and tears and smudges and spills. That's because this isn't a place for him to make perfect, immaculate works of art. These are his own private workspaces where he can draw anything he wants. And his book inspired me to keep my own sketchbook. This is the book that I started when I was about 16 years old. And as you can see, I had a long way to go before I could draw or paint as well as my brother could. These were the first self-portraits that I drew in that book. And about 3 months later, this is the last self-portrait that I drew in that book. This is my current sketchbook. I try to do a drawing every day in this book. I want you to look carefully at those first self-portraits. That was my best attempt at drawing myself when I was 16 or 17 years old. But 3 months later, this is how much better I got from drawing almost every day. And this is my current sketchbook. This is the last self-portrait that I drew. You could have the best art teacher in the world, but if you aren't drawing, if you aren't practicing, you aren't going to get better as an artist. And that's why our next big project will be making and using our own sketchbooks. Sketchbooks!
Okay, I love his enthusiasm. So there's lots and lots of videos on sketchbooks, but I just want you to start brainstorming. If you don't have a sketchbook, you can always pick one up from the front office. I made 170 of them for all of my students in all my classes, and you are able to go and get them. I know most of you have one, or you could just make one. So there's videos on that as well. So now we're going to watch this one. I always do this wrong. This is a handmade one. And you can see that it has interesting folded pages and little thumbnail sketches from photographs and experimentation, ideas, brainstorming concepts like essential questions and jotting down anything that comes to mind so you don't forget meaningful things, color schemes right here, writing, brainstorming your journey, experimenting with different directions of how to flip the pages in the sketchbook, experimentation of using different materials in the sketchbook, and the flaps just protect the pages. So you have all these materials I gave you, and then you can jot down ideas. It's not meant to be perfect and beautiful. It's there to get all of your ideas on the paper and to practice before you do the real art piece. Now, sketchbooks are required in the AP exam. They want to see proof of you practicing, proof of you brainstorming and experimenting. Fashion designers, they do sketches. Artists, they do sketches. Architects, they do sketches. everything to just get the ideas down and brainstorm and experiment before they do their final pieces. These pieces you do in the sketchbook can count as art pieces as well. So we're going to be photographing examples of your sketches and showing them that you have a sketchbook, and this will count as parts of your exam. You can collage all kinds of weird materials. Remember how I told you to start collecting recycled materials to use as part of your artwork? Well, guess what? This is perfect for your sketchbook as well. Okay. I love that video. I think it's a lot of fun. So now we're going to check out the third one. I'm not going to spend too much time on this entire video. If you want to watch the full thing, you can watch it on your own.
All right, guys. Hey, AP students. All right, we have been talking a little bit via our Google meetings and stuff. So I just want to take the time to make this video to show you guys my theme sketchbook, okay? So I did this at an AP conference last summer, not this summer, last summer. And the purpose of this sketchbook and the sketchbook that you guys are making is to kind of develop this theme. This theme may have something to do with your sustained investigation. We want to start thinking about that. But really, the purpose is to kind of, how do I make multiple pieces of artwork on a theme, and how do I kind of continually think through that through visuals, okay? So I'm going to show you this one. When I was given the challenge here, some of the things I was thinking about was, my job of teaching. How do I teach students to go on beyond high school and be successful in life? And so I was thinking kind of about vocational training and how vocational training, that means training for jobs, how maybe we are kind of lacking that. A lot of times I think education is maybe just training people for the next step in education, and not really thinking about how we can serve our communities through a lot of different jobs. So it's like, get in there, get your hands dirty, do stuff, build stuff, be a maker in sort of ways. So a lot of my stuff is themed around that. So it says design, build, create. This is a mixture of collage, a little bit of paint, so some different kinds of markers. So yeah, I'll obviously have some car stuff in here. You guys know that's an interest of mine, is just cars. So when I think about building something, I'm thinking about building a car because that's one thing I like to do. So I have some tools and stuff on here as well that have to do with building cars. So tools, all that stuff in here, a little bit of fine line detail, just highlighting that. Also, I was kind of thinking about sticking to a color palette. When you're making art, try to make it beautiful. So maybe think about things about color, shape, form, all that stuff that we've learned in some of our previous classes. Okay, inside my sketchbook, yes, I went full bore on this. So inside covers as well are kind of developing this theme. Also, maybe still thinking about sticking to that color palette, straying from it a little bit, but continuing to build on that theme. Grabbing creative quotes and stuff that I thought, I maybe come across in a magazine or something like that, and maybe it's related to my theme, and sticking those in there. Okay, anything you see that sparks your creativity, inspires you, cut it out, write it down, whatever it might be, okay? Your sketchbook's kind of a working document, and things may change. Your theme may evolve a little bit, but let's try and stick to that general theme. In here, I wrote an inquiry question, okay? Inquiry question is one of those big things we really do need to nail down this semester, and that is what your portfolio is all about. But how are you addressing it? So it's kind of like asking yourself that question. What if, what if we did something like this? So my inquiry question said, what if we had to design and build our own transports? Okay. But then also on transports, I wrote, what if we had to design and build our own clothes, our own homes, things like that. So I was kind of ghosted in some other ideas. Just thinking about this, like, do we have those skills in order to do that? Some people do. Where did they learn those skills? Okay. Some of them went to a trade school. Some of them maybe did an apprenticeship or something like that. But along the way, people picked up skills and they could do that. Some people's skills are more specialized than others. But just how can we be a little bit more rounded? That was maybe one of the questions I was asking myself. So then I expanded on it a little bit, talking about that vocational education, skilled labor, things like that. Um, how, it's okay to get our hands dirty, get in there, build things, develop new skills, freedom of expression and creativity. How cool would the cars be on the road if everybody had to build their own car? Right? You would never pull up at a stoplight and see the car next to you. You go to a parking lot and there's 37 Priuses out there, right? I kind of hate that. I want an individualized thing. So it shows some creativity out there. So that's kind of what I was playing with these ideas in here. So my page is again kind of building on that. I put in maybe a little more effort into something like a drawing here on this page, but again, some more collage. An artist that inspires me, Robert Williams, kind of a hot rod artist. So I have some of his stuff in here. This is where some variety of paper was kind of fun to play with. I had an actual tracing paper that I stuck in here. So how that can kind of change going from side to side. And it is kind of on this idea of customizing a vehicle and making it different. Yeah, just more and more pages developing this idea. Some random
So you guys
stuff.
gather that
Just thoughts
idea.
I'm throwing in.
I'm not going to play the whole thing. That was this one. Oh, this one's interesting. I like this one. There we go.
Okay, so I am doing a sketchbook tour of my AP Art sketchbook for the 2017-2018 school year, which is my junior year. This is number 29 because I number my sketchbooks just to keep them in order. This guy's got a lot going on here, covered in good old stickers, which I always think that's fun. So, jumping in. This is a digital picture that I printed out and decided to stick in the front here. I kind of like to safely start out each page knowing it's going to be good, so I set the tone for the whole sketchbook. So I just print out something that I like. Some more doodles. This is outside at my aunt's, and for AP Art in my class at least, we had to keep a sketchbook, and a lot of this early work is just summer stuff. Oh, this is the view of outside the window of my library, which is a visual journal spread, which I marked with these. We had to do visual journal spreads for our class. This is another one as well. I think we had to do at least 5 over the summer. This is still summer stuff. Some hands. Got a squirrel. A weird lady. This stuff. This is my sister outside. My sister again, and my dad at an airport. This was at the Chihuly Glass Museum in Seattle. I really enjoyed that. This is another visual journal spread. I like this one a lot, actually. More from the Chihuly Glass Museum, and I think Yes, I drew an upside down as well. This is like a kind of a greenhouse, a little enclosed area, a little large enclosed area. This is outside the Chihuly Glass Museum, so had a lot of time to sit and draw there. This was at the I think it's at the Pop Culture Museum, still in Seattle. Just some sketches. This is also digital and printed out. Rolling my sleeves up. And very out of proportion, vampire girl. This was going to be a spread, but decided against it. Some skulls, and I think that was somewhere in Alaska. So we did some traveling over this summer. I think we're still in summer work. Orca skeleton. That's unfinished. Digital. Got some faces. Digital as well. I like to print out digital work and cover up stuff or pages that I don't like. This was another spread, I think. Just a kind of a conglomeration of odd things. I think this was supposed to be Moana, but she looks way more sassy than Moana actually is. This is digital as well. My character, Jean, and Rocky Horror quote. Gotta put those in there. Some life drawings and a still life. Got some faces, and this was a upside down. Yeah, that's
Now I want to pause this for a second.
Okay.
To just give you some information. This used to be an AP exam where you had to show variety of concepts, and then the second semester was all based on your concentration, your essential questions. They got rid of the other stuff, so that's why hers looks a little different. She was drawing from everywhere she goes, which you should totally do. But, ours is based on that concentration, your essential questions. So I'm not going to play this whole thing, but that is there for you if you want to take a look at it. You can research your own as well. I'm just trying to get you going here. Here's another one. These will be left on the agenda for you to look at. When I click it here, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help. This sentence is grammatically.
Hi everyone, so today I wanted to talk about what sketchbooks are really for. And I do talk about, I talked about this before. I like to revisit topics every once in a while and just add new thoughts to the topic, because I see a lot, this might actually be changing now, but there's a lot of sketchbook flip-throughs on YouTube that every single page is a fully finished, beautiful illustration, and sometimes that can give sort of unrealistic expectations of what sketchbooks can be and should be. That's definitely one way to use a sketchbook, but that's not the only way or the best way. There's really no best way. It's whatever you want to use it for. But I think the most useful way and the most fun way and the least stressful way to use a sketchbook is to just use it for anything and everything you want to use. It's a place to experiment and to play around with your art, because where else are you going to do this? There's really no other place to grow as an artist. You don't really have much of a chance to really experiment on final pieces because it's a final piece. You don't want to try something brand new on that drawing because you don't know if it's going to work out. So where do you try new techniques and new rendering styles and different ways of drawing things? You do that in a sketchbook, because it's a book of sketches. It's that's what it's meant for. Some sketchbooks do have a really good quality paper in them, and they're mostly meant for doing more final things because they can handle like all that media, but you can still use those for sketching. It really depends on what you want to use it for. So your sketches don't have to be beautiful, although it is more inspiring to like have a page of really beautiful sketches, but that's just not the reality. That's not what it's going to be. It's supposed to be where you just play around and try to find the boundaries of what you're able to draw. And some days you'll be able to sketch really well and be really happy with what you've made, and other days it's going to be difficult, just like anything in life. And just like any day, some days are good and some days are bad. But the best thing is to just keep going and not worry about how your sketches look, because who's going to see it? I know some people do have like friends or family members that will just look through their sketchbook, but it's really for you. It's not really for anybody else. And that's kind of hypocritical of me to say because I post all of my sketchbooks online, but through doing that, I've actually kind of stopped caring so much about what my sketchbooks look like. And sometimes I'll share pages that I'm just like, I don't know, they don't look too great. And I know I didn't really put effort in, but it's just a sketchbook. Like, it's not supposed to be amazing. And some days you might sit down and want to draw a bunch of nice looking, appealing sketches, and that's fine. And other days you might want to try drawing something different that you've never drawn before and really struggle and end up with a page of things that look super off and wobbly. And that's fine too. That's the more things you draw that stump you and you find challenging, every single sketch you do makes you a little bit better and you understand it a little bit more. And another good way to use a sketchbook is to just dedicate one to a specific project. So if there's something you've been wanting to do, like a comic, I know a lot of people are into making comics, you can dedicate one sketchbook to doing the concept art, the thumbnails, all the sketches that go into making that comic, because then you have it all in one place and you know, like, this isn't for final art, this is for figuring out what the comic's going to look like. And that can kind of be taken to like your style as an artist. This sketchbook isn't for the final comic, it's not for the final artwork, it's for figuring out what I want that to be and how I want to explore my style that will affect my final art. But also you can use sketchbooks for finished illustrations. I do this too. I like to do a mix of everything. I actually made a Patreon print in one of my sketchbooks because I ended up really liking the sketch and I took it to completion, and I just have it in my sketchbook now because that's where that's just what happened. So just let whatever is going to happen naturally happen, and I think that's one of the most stress-free and easiest ways to approach a sketchbook. Also, using a sketchbook to practice and do studies and work on drawing things that you're not too comfortable with it's just like, it's the only place to do it. Like, where else are you going to practice these things? I guess like digitally or on scrap pieces of paper, but having a book with infinite pages, well, not infinite, but seemingly infinite pages where you can just keep flipping and keep trying to draw the same thing over and over it's just super convenient to just have that space where you can just, it's like a judgment-free zone where you can just draw whatever you want, practice drawing hands, feet, poses, cats, dogs, rocks, landscapes, anything. It's for you to figure things out. It's like a diary. Like, you know how in a diary you kind of like document your life and figure things out with your life? A sketchbook is that for your art. It's like the behind the scenes stuff. And I find the more you sketch, the easier it gets to not be so attached to the idea of everything having to be perfect. Because you start to realize this is what it's meant for. Like, I'm feeling better about my art the more I sketch and the less I worry about doing final illustrations, because that can be really stressful. If that's a stressful thing for you, it can definitely take its toll on how you view your sketchbook and how intimidated you are by it. And something that I know a lot of people do is they'll purposely buy cheap sketchbooks so that they don't feel like they're ruining pages. And I think that's a really great idea. Like, I have a few cheap ones that I use for doing studies because it's just a fact that the sketchbook I have is expensive. It's a gift it was a gift from last Christmas, and the paper is really nice in it, and I don't want to fill it up with only studies. I want to do more colorful sketches because I can use that paper for different media. It actually takes like watercolor and stuff. So for just doing pencil sketches, I use like a cheaper book, but I also do that in the sketchbook as well, in the nicer sketchbook, and then I'll go back and color it later because I think if the sketchbook can handle good media, I like to make use of that, but you also don't have to. It kind of feels like a waste to just do pencil sketches on like really good quality paper, but you don't have to like fill it up with tons of color just because you can. A sketchbook can also be used for sort of a journal or collecting things. I know a lot of people will like stick like stamps in their sketchbook, maybe little doodles, flowers, leaves, receipts from maybe some of their favorite stores or like movie tickets and stuff, and sketch around that. And I think that's a good way to kind of not be intimidated by the blank page and to also like kind of be more attached to it and make it feel more personal. But I've never really done that, to be honest. I only decorate the outside with like stickers and stamps from other artists. I never really glue anything on the inside because I'm not organized enough to save things for that. It's just not the way I do it. But I know some people do. Another thing I do with my sketchbooks that I probably shouldn't do is I just let them sit on a shelf. I know a lot of us are guilty of just buying too many sketchbooks than we can use. So I kind of try to let that inspire me to sketch more because I know I should be using these, but I just don't get through sketchbooks quick enough to get to all the ones on my shelf. But at least I'm using one of them, and I'll get to the others eventually. But a lot of the time they just end up sitting on my shelf because I get them as gifts. I get them when they're on sale or when I'm just out. I will impulsively buy a sketchbook that I don't need. I will still buy it, and it's just sitting a nice blank book on my shelf. A sketchbook can also be one of your necessities. It can be something you always carry with you. In case you have an idea, you can quickly jot it down. If you want to sketch from life, to draw people or plants that you see around you, you can take a sketchbook with you. And it can be your way of documenting the world around you and your thoughts. I like to kind of write things out in a sketchbook sometimes because I find if I don't know what to draw, sometimes writing down some words can sort of spark an idea or an inspiration, and I can then actually sketch it out. And another thing sketchbooks are really good.
All right, I'm going to pause this real quick. I want you guys to watch the rest of those on your own, but I have to do a proof of an attendance question. So let's do a question. Reuse from second period. Okay. Will these videos help your sketchbook composition? So I'm going to go ahead and ask that. That's going to be due in a little bit. Class is over at 11:04. We didn't get to watch all the videos. There's another one about dynamic symmetry that's really important, and we can go over that another time. So this is going to be due at 11:04 a.m. for 5 points. And I'm going to go ahead and ask that. Okay, so I'm going to continue playing the video so you can listen along while you're answering that question for me, please.
For is planning an illustration that you want to do, because the best way to make sure that you come out with a nice, good finished product, a finished illustration that you actually like, a way of increasing the odds of that happening is to find a bunch of reference photos, get out your sketchbook, do a bunch of sketches of those things that you're going to be including in the illustration, a bunch of thumbnails, really explore different compositions and different ways you can arrange all the elements on the canvas, and try different formats, landscape, portrait, unless you have a specific dimension that you're working with. And then you can do a bigger sketch, and then you take that sketch onto your final paper, and that's where you do the final illustration. And then you have all this planning in your sketchbook because they're sketches, and it goes in the book for sketches, a sketchbook. A lot of this might be obvious, but if you're a beginner artist, maybe it isn't, because I certainly use my sketchbooks for finished pieces when I first started, and I would leave white space all around the sketch. But it's just so much more useful to not leave all that white space and to just fill it in with sketches and scribbles and experiments, because that's what it's made for. It doesn't have to be anything. That's the most important thing. It doesn't have to be just sketches. It doesn't have to be finished art. It can be a mix of everything and whatever you feel like doing that day. I find it so much less stressful when I don't make a plan for my sketchbook. Like sometimes I like the idea of saying, okay, this sketchbook is for only pencil drawings. And then when I want to use a color in it, I'm like, oh, but this is my pencil sketchbook. Or
I want to stop again. A lot of you I notice have dead white space. See how she could easily just fill that in with watercolor or soft pastel and do little jots and sketches. I encourage you to continue doing these kinds of things with your sketchbook and your mind map to improve it, because remember, your mind map is something we're actually submitting to the judges, and they are going to be seeing the effort that you put forth. A lot of you did not get the between 90 to 100, and I gave you a lot of feedback for you to read comments on in personally. So read those comments, okay? And take a look at how she easily and quickly fills these spaces. She's been drawing the entire time, so this is quite an impressive sketchbook. And she has great ideas for you to quickly, start off in pencil, and then she just filled it in with watercolor, and then she keeps layering and layering. Does anybody have any questions while I have you live here?
No.
Okay. Some of you wanted some feedback. Some of you wanted some grading. I am also going to be around for student support if you want to talk to me, or we could talk through email. I am telling myself I'm not going to use my evenings to grade anymore and plan anymore. I need to have a life. I don't know if you know this, but I put my grad school, I'm in getting my master's degree. I decided to put that on pause a couple of times, and I go back next week. So I need to make sure that, I take care of the things that I need to in my personal time. So that's what class time is for, and student support. Okay? And just email me oh, Miss Brown, I submitted something late. Can you take a look at it when you have a sec? Sure. Anybody else want to talk to me? All right, I'm going to press play.
that's not really a true example, but not setting such like limiting expectations for your sketchbook can allow you to just be more free with it and not overthink everything, because overthinking can make you not know what to sketch, not know what to draw, and not want to do it anymore. So I hope this video was kind of interesting to you. I just like to talk about what I use sketchbooks for and what I think of them, because I think it's really important for beginner artists or people who don't really use sketchbooks much to not feel intimidated by it, because it doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to live up to anyone's expectations but your own, I guess. And it's not for anybody else. It's for you. It's for you to practice your art and experiment and to really explore your art. It's a playground. You're supposed to play in your sketchbook. So I really hope you enjoyed this. I like doing these sort of mini podcast style videos where I just kind of pick a topic and
All right. So another thing that I love is she's showing you how to watercolor and do artwork here. You start in pencil, you watercolor, you fill it in, and then you go back over it with refined pen work, or these are like little pens that hold ink. That's a brush, and you could use Sharpies, you could use anything, and just like kind of helping outline and layering. So that's great. Anybody want to talk to me? Nope. All right. Huh?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Okay. Well, I hope this has been helpful for you. So if you haven't gotten a sketchbook, you need to go to the front office and pick one up, or make your own. There's so many cool YouTubes on how to make your own. And you saw the one that was like all rustic and crusty. Use, recycled materials and add them, and use roughage. Like, have fun with this. Don't be afraid to go buck wild and play hard and experiment. That's the strong artworks that I've noticed. The people that have no fear and put themselves out there, that's what this is for. This is an outlet for you all.
chat more about it and just kind of give my thoughts. And always, as always, leave in the comments your thoughts and how you use your sketchbooks, because I think it's important to see how other people do things, and then that will give you an idea of how you can do it. If you want to see some of my sketchbooks really up close, I have a Patreon, and if you join the $5 tier, you actually get access to a whole backlog of sketches that I've scanned in. I also have sketchbook tours on YouTube, but that's
Okay. She's now selling herself, which is great. Good for her. But and then there's more. If you there was a few of you that did like fists in your artwork. I thought it was funny because this guy is painting a fist and he's talking about sketchbooks, so I threw that in there. Then this one is another sketchbook and advice about sketchbooks. And so you guys could, just keep looking at these and getting inspired. We did not go over the dynamic symmetry. We just don't have enough time for it, but it's really important for you to watch this video. Can you guys tell me in the poll, do you have a camera at home? Oops. Do you have a camera at home? It could be a cell phone. Awesome. 18 of you have answered out of 27. What's going on here? I guess Elijah has not been listening to me at all, huh? Elijah. Yeah, he's not here. Ureli, I haven't heard from her. I'm going to go ahead and write their names down that they're not here actively. Okay, so third period. Elijah is not paying attention. And Emma, I'll go ahead and mark them absent. And let's see here. Oh, there's a chat all of a sudden. The participant thing isn't popping up. What, you mean the proof of practice? It's under attendance questions. It's right here. What are you talking about? Oh, you mean the participant poll. Why don't you turn on your microphone? All right, 21 of you have answered. And then a bunch of you haven't. So that's on you. Okay, I'm going to return these back. You got 4 minutes to talk to me about anything you need. I can't at the moment. Let me guess, you're not at home, you're doing something you're not supposed to be. Ha. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my video. I forgot